November 16th, 1965. Walt Disney announces his plans for a new resort in Orlando, Florida, having become frustrated by the lack of space for Disneyland expansion in the city of Anaheim, California, as well as the seedy atmosphere that spawned around the park. Walt and his company began searching for space to start fresh in Central Florida. They attempted to hide their plans by purchasing the land in portions using shell companies. But as the media began to notice the large amount of land being purchased, speculation grew as to who was behind it. It wasn't long before the Florida public learned that Disney was working on a new project in their area, and they learned of these plans during very early development of the Disney World project. It was so early that it was tough for the company to describe exactly what the plans were, but with the truth unveiled, Walt held a press conference to reveal what he could about the new resort. In this conference, he announced the Disney World theme park, but he announced a second project as well, one far more ambitious and exciting than anything the company had ever previously attempted.
I'd love to be a part of building a model community as a city of tomorrow, as you might say. I'm not against the automobile, but I just feel that the automobile has moved into communities too much, and I feel it can design so that the automobile is there, but still put people back as pedestrians again, you see.
This is the public's first introduction to Walt Disney's Epcot project. Epcot stands for the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, a city built with community and innovation at the forefront. In the middle, there is a town center where companies would establish workplaces to employ the residents. These residents would live in neighborhoods and apartments stocked and designed by industry leaders, and the city would be flush with parks, walking trails, and community centers bringing the people together. Epcot would be enclosed in a dome and would rely on a monorail transportation system. It was a utopian and radical concept meant to serve as a blueprint for American cities.
Also, I've had in mind one community called Yesterday and the other one Tomorrow. Another reason to come here, they might come one time and they stay in Tomorrow, and their friends will say, "But have you stayed in Yesterday?" Then they'll have to come back.
Along with the city of tomorrow, Walt also mentioned a city of yesterday, but this was a concept rarely ever used following the press conference. It was mentioned almost for a laugh and hardly ever again. It was only because the press revealed Disney's involvement in the area that Epcot was being talked about publicly so early into development. This was an idea that was still formulating in Walt's mind, an idea he was determined to bring to reality. Walt was inspired by the industrial innovations of his time, from companies like Ford and General Electric. He had revolutionized animation, revolutionized amusement parks, but he wasn't satisfied. Walt wanted to do more than entertain the world. He wanted to lead it into the future, and his Epcot project was meant to do just that. It would be the new prototype for American cities, and cement his legacy as the next pioneer of American innovation. Walt's goal was to leave a legacy and create a lasting impact on his country. And while he was excited about Disney World, he was obsessed with Epcot. A year later, on December 14th, 1966, Walt lay in bed as his brother Roy visited him. Walt, still obsessed with the Epcot project, described the layout of his city of tomorrow, pointing to the tiles on the ceiling, using them as a grid to illustrate upon. He described neighborhoods branching out radially from the city's center, like the spokes on a wheel, always turning its citizens further into the future. Unfortunately for Walt, the future was not on his side. The bed Walt lay in was a hospital bed, as he had been diagnosed with lung cancer. Walt's obsession with legacy blinded him to the sad reality of his declining health, which was all too apparent to his brother Roy. The next day, on December 15th, 1966, Walt Disney would tragically pass away, and with him, his vision for Epcot, the city of tomorrow, died as well.
Speaking of cities adjacent to the Walt Disney World Resort property, there's a new town under construction called Celebration. The first residents are moving into townhomes, cottages, village and estate homes, and apartments in 6 architectural styles that, when blended with the town center, create a public experience, much the same as when you walk along Main Street in the Magic Kingdom Park.
Celebration is really Epcot, I think, in the end, in the sense of what Walt was looking for. A really nice place for people to really live real lives
We believe that has been created in Celebration. Every lesson ever learned from any master plan community in the country or throughout the world was studied in the design and development of this particular community.
We've dealt with cars in a positive way. We've dealt with garbage in a positive way, if you can say that. We've dealt with the way you live, the way you can live in a mixed-use environment with stores and apartments and houses and banks and post office all together in a walkable way.
But then, on August 1st, 1991, Disney announced a new project, Celebration, Florida. Celebration was a small town designed by the Disney Development Company. That was Roy Disney Jr., son of Roy Sr. and nephew to Walt Disney, as well as president of Walt Disney Attractions, Judson Green, and former CEO of Disney, Michael Eisner. Although they and others involved in the project would describe the town as a rebirth of Walt Disney's City of Tomorrow, in truth, it also resembles a foray into the close-knit community structures of the past, his city of yesterday. It was both a push towards the future and a celebration of the past. So welcome to Disney's Celebration.